Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nightingale. It is a survival crafting game that is developed by Inflection Games, I believe it's called. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And this is a game that's been on my radar for quite a few years now, since I think E3 a few years back. And me and a couple of friends of mine have been so excited for this game. And there's a few reasons for that. The main reason is the aesthetic. It is based in a fae / cyber steampunk universe, which excites me tremendously. I love that aesthetic of fae magic and fairies and mythical creatures and large sort of beasts. It really is just hits the spot with me. I absolutely adore it. Add that with the steampunk of variation of humanity that are using their steampunk technology to sort of like manipulate fae magic and that kind of thing is just so cool. I think this portal here is a perfect example of this. Which is like it's got like cables and giant resistors and metal and rivets, and it's like really steampunky, but also it's like here to manipulate fae magic and corridors and into other realms, and that's so cool to me. I absolutely love it. And the other reason why this game excited me so much is because it is developed by sort of BioWare Old Guard. That was quite a hell of a shot. We're talking like Mass Effect and original Dragon Age. Oh, I've just destroyed my house. Good shot, Will. Let's go and deal with this. You see my floating there. That's not a bug, that is a feature. Did I kill that? I don't think I hit him. I don't know where that wolf has gone. There he is. Boom. But yeah, so it's developed by the old guard of BioWare, who I believe one of them has left BioWare and set up a new studio, which is this studio. And what really excited me about that is BioWare used to have a very good understanding of how to craft a world and how to make it feel real and lived. And I absolutely adore this setting, and to have it be developed by a team that I believe could make it feel real and lived in really excited me. It really excited me. The really sad thing is this game fundamentally misses some points. It really does. And that's one good thing about early access is we can come out and say, look, there's issues with it. It's this, and this. And they can work on it and we can try and help them. It's one of the reasons why Baldur's Gate and Divinity 2 are so claimed as masterpieces. And Larian Studios has come out and said, yeah, we love early access because of that. But enough about early access. There's probably a video on its own. So, Nightingale. It's a survival game, like I said before, that is based in the Fae universe. And it works on crafting worlds through cards. And then instead of having one giant open world, you can explore multiple realms, they call them, and you can craft these realms with different biomes and different modifiers and stuff like that, and it's really cool. But like I alluded to earlier, the game does fundamentally fall down in a few places, and one of those places is performance. I believe there is some sort of performance leak somewhere. I don't want to say memory leak, I'm not technical enough to know what that really means, but there is definitely a performance leak where after a few hours of me playing the game will go from 60 and chug down all the way to sort of like the high teens, mid 20s, and it's just unplayable. And then I have to then stop what I'm doing to then not enough stamina. You can't do this. Well, that's interesting. Oh, it's because I'm really sleepy. I better go sleep. Yeah, and the game chugs down, and then I have to restart my game and go again. But you don't want to do that necessarily, because the game is persistent online. Now, this is something that developers have said they're going to work on fixing. They've understood and heard the community's outcry to say, no, this game needs to have an offline mode. It's one of my biggest gripes at the moment, and that's saying something, is the developers thought this game didn't need or shouldn't have an offline mode, and it really, really does. My terrible, terrible houses. I love survival crafting games, not good at building in them. That's Kane's job. But yeah, so the performance is absolutely dreadful. And as we're going into performance, let's go straight into the options menu and see what we've got here. It's got some good audio options. It's got broken down dialogue, music, effects, master volume. All these things are really, really good. Even player emotes, because like I said, it's an online game. So you don't have to play with other people, but you do have to be online at the moment. So I hope they fix that. Reduces player breath sound. These sort of things are really nice little things to have. Some people want to be immersed with their character and listen and hear that kind of effect, but like me, I'm not bothered by it. Mono output, not sure why this exists, but again, I could say not sure why this exists, but it's not a problem that it does exist. Okay, well, this is always good. And voice chat for in-game VoIP if you need it, which is again really nice, because you can, when crafting realms, create them as public areas. So that is actually a really cool idea. Video options, it has some odd things, some things I really don't like, some things I don't understand. Full screen mode, you can't make full screen mode, which is very odd. It's borderless or windowed, you don't get either or. Now, I do normally play games in borderless windowed, but with the performance issues of this game, I actually would have liked to run it in full screen mode just to get a couple of more frames, have a little bit more stability. Can't do that because full screen mode doesn't have a full screen mode. Very, very odd. Which also means I can't change my resolution. I would have liked to go on full screen mode and gone 1080p to give myself an FPS bump. Can't do that. Very odd. Arachnophobia mode. Very, very nice to have. As someone who hates spiders, this is really nice. Enable motion blur. This being off for default, I think is one of the first times I've ever seen this. In like 15 years of playing PC games, this is one of the first times I've ever seen this. Brilliant idea. Experimental third person mode, nice to see. Some people prefer to play third person, some people first. It is experimental. Some of the animations are very janky. You can see my person here who looks absolutely awful and, as I said, janky. Then we've got camera shake off by default, FOV going up to 110, really, really nice here. Third person FOV, very, very nice as well. And then we've got our graphical settings. So at the moment, performance preset doesn't work, I believe. It sticks it to ultra. So you're better off going in and changing this game. I'll put my specs on the screen now, or they'll be in the description below. And so you guys know what I'm running, because it's not a bad rig. It's a pretty good rig. Definitely sort of medium to high spec rig. And this game should be able to play it fine, and it just doesn't. Lumen. In games like Satisfactory, Lumen is a lighting engine from Unreal, and games like Satisfactory use Lumen, but it's very intensive on your system. So Satisfactory give you the option to turn it off and use a normal baked lighting system, and you can't turn this off. Performance to ultra quality, you can't turn it off. It infuriates me that you cannot say off. It really does, because again, like I said earlier, and like I've seen is Satisfactory, Lumen is intensive, it's resource intensive. So turning that off when you have the performance issues you do have would be nice. Anti-aliasing. I would like to know the level of anti-aliasing they are. Not the level, sorry, but the type of AA this is. Not just performance, balanced, quality, ultra quality. I want to know what AA are you using. The other thing is, NVIDIA DLSS. I'm pretty sure that when you enable DLSS, it turns off anti-aliasing by default on most games, but this game it doesn't seem to do that. So this, again, it's an irritating bugbear. Am I losing performance because I'm running an AA on top of DLSS? Don't really need to do that. When a game is upscaling to 4K, don't really need any anti-aliasing. So I would like to see that off. Again, you've also got temporal super resolution and the Intel's version of DLSS, which is nice. They are working on FS R3 for AMD as well. So that's good. It's in there. Ultra performance down to balance. Ultra performance down to quality, like most of the settings in the DLSS range. And then you have your DLAA if that's what you prefer. Sharpness, frame generation if you're using something, I think 30 series upwards, which is, again, nice. You can't turn off DLSS. You can't turn off any performance boost. It's very peculiar. And I know most of the time you'll probably be like, well, why would you want to turn it off? And the thing I would like to do is I'd like to turn it off because if I want the game to run at 1080p default and be more CPU bound because of the performance issues, I might want that. But my main reason was when I was running on Steam Deck. I want this game to run on Steam Deck. It does run on Steam Deck. It is playable. It's not perfect, but it's playable. But you can't turn DLSS off. But the Steam Deck runs on an AMD APU, I believe. So you can't use NVIDIA systems. FSR doesn't exist. You can't turn it off. You've got Intel or Temporal, but their Temporal, I believe, is quite intensive. So I want to just turn it off, but I can't. So that's incredibly irritating to me. Enabling VSync, nice. Frame rate limiting if you would like it. And reflex low latency. NVIDIA's reflex low latency is really good as well. It's nice. It does have some tech behind the game, which is nice. It'd just be nice if you could have the option to turn off this tech under certain scenarios. Again, I've talked about AA. It has a series of different options you have here. It's got I would say an okay range of options. Shaders, shadows, textures, view distance. The thing I don't like is it goes to performance, balanced, quality, and ultra quality. I like the performance and I like the ultra quality because that's like top spec, low spec. You want performance, you want top spec. There's you go. I don't know how I feel, and I don't really like the balanced and quality options. I would like those to be called something else. Something more indicative of what they are. I feel like Ubisoft does this better than most people when they have the image of what the game looks like and actually can show you. They can show you the VRAM and how much you're using of your system and that kind of stuff, and you're able to balance out what the game's going to look like with the performance of your system. So it's this performance balanced quality, ultra quality. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's definitely not at the level I want. Yeah, I would prefer something different than this. Post-processing also, I want this broken down into the different post-processings. If you're using ambient occlusion and a depth of field and other bits of post-processing, I want to turn those off separately from each other. I don't want just post-processing, done. I want to be able to adjust what level of what post-processing you're doing. I want to know what types of post-processing you are doing. So this, not great in my opinion. Everything else is kind of fine. There is quite a lot of pop-in when you do view distance down to sort of a balanced or performance with the foliage set to balanced. These settings are set up in a way where I'm trying to get the absolute maximum performance without the game looking absolutely dog shit. Because it's quite a pretty aesthetic game. I love the way sort of the creatures look and the world looks, and I think honestly the skyboxes are absolutely incredible with the multiple planets. Just it really riles something up inside of me where I just love it. And just if you put floating stuff like this in your game, hey Betty, I instantly love it. This is Betty, my NPC miner, which you can recruit one NPC, and there's some stuff of base building that they will do where you can give them access to boxes, and then you can lay down like walls and they will just build it, and it's a really lovely sort of quality of life thing that they do. It's absolutely brilliant. We'll see if we can get Bay to do something here. Hey Bay, build this and build this and build this, right? So we can place those down there. And while we're talking about this, then we'll actually go on to the building system then, which is I've placed down these three blocks here, right? If I went and got... I'm not going to because Betty's doing it, hopefully. If I went and got stone block, okay, from this chest, I believe it's over here. Yeah. Yeah, here you go, stone block. If I went and got a stone block, you can see here survivors can access this, so Betty's going to come and grab this. I could just feed one of those placed building blocks, and it would feed all of them. So this 9 stone block it's talking about here is actually all 3 of these items. So this whole structure here, I was doing some testing. I laid out this whole structure, and then I just let Betty have access to the chest. She built most of it. And other bits, I just literally came over to this corner here and said, threw resources at this corner, and then it built the whole thing. And it's a fantastic... There you go. She's done it. Thank you, Betty. It's a fantastic system and a great bit of quality of life. I absolutely love it. It really takes the monotony out of base building. You can set up and plan your buildings via the blueprints. And then, yes, you can go into here and set up your blueprints of your buildings to make sure it's how you want it. And then you can just throw resources at the corner of the building and it's done. The whole thing gets created. It's absolutely fantastic. The other thing is, not that the game tells you about this. Again, it's a quality of life in the game's UI where it doesn't tell you about this keybind, which is X. You can then go up to here. You can't move this structure. Cannot be moved. Okay, fair enough. But this thing here can be. So we can just move stuff. You don't have to rebuild it. You don't have to dismantle it. You don't have to waste trees. You can just move it. It's so nice. It's so good. You can even just queue and copy it. And then Bay can come over here and make it. So add resources from inventory or auto add resources. Deconstruct for now. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. And then remove has a bar. So you don't accidentally remove things. So that's a really, really nice system. Building this game is quite good. I do think Enshrouded has a level of building system is just one of the best building systems I've ever seen in a survival game. But this has something Enshrouded doesn't, which is that concept of building blueprints and throwing resources at one specific block instead of having to go and build everything individually. And it's super, super nice. And the fact Betty can do that as well is really, really nice. So as we've been talking a little bit quality of life, there are things missing from this game. For instance, if I go up to one of my workbenches, and there are a lot of workbenches in this game, we've got everything over here from a simple upgrade bench to a refined enchantment focus to a simple alchemy boiler to a refined mortar station, to a refined workbench, to a refined saw table, to it's just, there's a lot of stuff here. And when I want to craft an item, it doesn't access all of my chests. And it's at this point, if your survival game doesn't access the chests in your building, it's just not good enough. Enshrouded did this really nice thing where quite early on you get a magic box, a magic trunk, and that trunk activates that level of quality of life. And I love that because it adds the quality of life to the progression of the game. Absolutely phenomenal. Love that. Great idea. Hoping this game was going to do it. It still could do it, but after 30 hours, it hasn't done it yet. It hasn't given me that recipe. I might have missed it. All right? I might have missed that recipe. I also might have not. So I just don't know. But it's not in here at 30 hours, and quite frankly, it should be in a lot earlier than that, or be a little bit more obvious. That leads on to the progression of the game, which I think is one of the biggest issues, even including the performance. The progression of the game is confusing. The way it teaches you very early on is it gives you the fact there's a bug at the moment that everything's still red and everything is always open is really irritating. But again, bugs will be bugs. This game is quite buggy. If you get it, if you play it, you're going to have a lot of bugs. So stay tuned. Right, so if we go to building and we go to refinement and basics repair, right. Firstly, these names are not good. Okay, refinement of products, we're guessing, but even basics and repair. Basics and repair of what? We think these items down here are to craft refined resources, and these are to craft items. That's what we think. But in here, you start off with a campfire and other what they call simple workbench, simple alchemy boiler, simple upgrade bench, simple tanning stations. From there, you move on to refined alchemy boiler, refined enchantment focus, refined sewing bench. And the same thing with refinement, simple spinning wheel, refined spinning wheel. So very similar early on with tools. The game gives you access to... Where are they? These are all the cards. I don't want this. Makeshift items. It says, here you go. Here's makeshift items. And then it gives you, later on, it gives you access to simple items. And then it gives you access to refined items. So the progression of the game it's teaching you is going from simple or makeshift to this refined process. And later on you have excellent. So that's sort of the progression the game is teaching you very early on. But that's not, from my experience, the progression of the game. And it's very odd because the game doesn't teach you this, which is, if you have this axe, okay? Where is it? There it's down here. Right. I've got a refined wood axe. Okay. I've went from makeshift to simple to refined. I haven't got the next level. I've been searching for the next level. And I have a feeling inside that I've missed the recipe. I've been going through this game for 30 hours and I feel like I have missed the recipe for the next level axe. And it's dawned on me recently that actually I might not have. This might be the next level or the maximum level of axe. And how the game progression is now evolving is, instead of getting a better axe like I have for the first bit of the game, to get a better axe, I then have to use resources with specific statistics to level up this axe. And it's a very, very cool system, and I actually love it a lot. It's just the teaching of the system and how the game teaches you the system is not done in a very fluid way. It moves you from this tiered system of makeshift, simple, refined. Now it's sort of flowing into, or I feel the game is flowing into, a system of statistics and crafting items through an inherited statistics, which I'll get into in a minute. I'll explain it. But the game doesn't teach you that very well. So I've been running around worlds trying to figure it out, and I have felt almost lost about what to do next. In Valheim, in the first 10 hours of the game, I felt I knew exactly what I had to do. After the first few hours of the game, I knew what I had to do and where I had to go, how the structure of the game flowed, what I had to do to get the next set of items and upgrades, and I knew how to go with it. And this game doesn't have the flow figured out yet. And it's one of the biggest issues. And for the last 30 hours, I have felt like I have just missed things. So as a sort of an addition to that, when it comes down to your actual tool benches and stuff, the game gave me all the simple stuff straight off the bat. Not a problem. Here's all the simple stuff. Not at the very beginning, I had to go and unlock them, but it gave me all of them in a specific time period as I went through the game. The refined stuff has come in ebbs and flows, which has left me with this constant feeling of missing out. Have I missed something? Have I missed this? Have I not explored enough? And I have gone through areas and explored lots and lots and lots to try and find all these recipes. And it got to the point where the areas weren't giving me any recipes anymore because of what I believe is I've unlocked them all. So I went to the next areas, and the next areas then gave me some extra refined stuff. And it wasn't that I had missed anything, it's that I had to move on, but a lot of time and confusion was wasted because I was still looking for refined workbenches when the game... Because the game had given me all the simple ones in one go, I was expecting the next level of workbenches to then also be given to me as a group together. To say, right, you've progressed onto the next world tier, and now you will get refined. But it wasn't like that, so it's confusing, and it's the progression and the flow of the game isn't coherent, isn't smooth. It's like how the game starts you off with this makeshift, simple, refined process, and then leads into this stat system. It isn't flowing as nicely as it should. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done in the progression of this thing. Also, there is a lot of workbenches, a lot of stuff. And then the way you upgrade workbenches and unlock recipes with augments, and there is an insane amount of augments. So it leads to there being a lot of clutter in your base. But anyway, that is one thing that just genuinely roping this whole issue under the coherence and the progression of the game does not flow from one thing to another as smoothly, anywhere near as smoothly as something like Valheim or Vampire V Rising, that kind of thing. So yes, the statistics. Let's go back to the statistics. So the way I figured this out was everything has a tier attached to it. You see here we've got tier 1 prey pelt, tier 1 predator pelt, and you see it's got statistics attached to it. So stamina regeneration, cold resistance, and then predators got maximum health regeneration, cold resistance. If I then crafted, so if we take, actually we can use some hide here, so we can go predator, we used to got a lot. So yeah, we'll get this predator skin, right? And then we'll go over to, I think it's the spinning wheel or the sewing. Oh, there's the tanning station. You see, there's a lot of things, and it's what does what. It can get a little bit confusing. We go over to felt and we say, right, we want to use some of this 2-2 predator, and it shows you the statistics on the right hand side. This works quite well. So we say, right, hide. I want to make some health, right? I want my gear to have extra health, so we use this. And then you have the attribute multipliers. So here's the what the item you're crafting is going to receive. So if we then craft this item, and we'll see it in a minute, it will receive those statistics, which is really cool. Because then when you go and craft something out of the felt, like a t-shirt or whatever, or a jacket or a bag, it will have the statistics that you're attaching to it. So if I wanted to make a really good gun, I don't start off with a copper gun and then move to an iron gun or a simple gun or a refined gun, a makeshift gun. It's not that level of progression. It isn't copper, iron, diamond like Minecraft. What it is it's statistics based. So when I created a gun, I went and made it out of copper. And the reason I did that, and I hope I have some copper to show you here, yes I do, is copper has 15% range damage. So I took the copper and I went over to the refined workbench, I believe. No, I didn't. It's the brazier. And in here, where is it? I made an action, and I made it out of copper. Now, if we make it out of ingots, you see it's going to get durability, fire resistance, melee damage. Melee damage, attaching melee damage to a pistol is not beneficial. If you do copper, you get range damage. So you can make an action out of... Oh, we need to add some fuel to this. No, it's alright. So we ignite that and then craft that. Okay, this is one of the little bugs where it doesn't give me the... There we go. Okay, so it's now going to craft the action for the pistol. Just going to have a quick sleep here. And you can now see that the action has range damage on it. So this pistol has a lot more range attached to it than a pistol made out of iron. And that's really fucking cool. I really like that. I really like the idea of farming harpies here, tier 2 harpies, for movement speed and stamina, maximum stamina. And then I can go and have my guns made out of copper that have really good range damage. I can then go around with my gear made out of harpy hide, and I have lots of stamina, and I have lots of movement speed, and I can stay away from the enemies while doing extra damage. And that's really fucking cool. I really, really like this system. It is just not taught to the player well. That's literally it. It's not taught to the player well. And it's the same inconsistencies of how the game teaches players things. The game suffers that in quite a few different areas. And it's disappointing. It really is, because the game just doesn't have a coherent flow to it. So I tell you what we're going to do then is we are going to go and talk about crafting worlds and what you can do, because the big part of this game is crafting worlds and exploring new realms. So let's go and do that. We're going to come over here. We're going to have a look at some realm cards. We're not going to go anywhere too complicated. But the way you craft realms is you have 3 different types of cards. I break them down into a main card, like a tier card, a biome, so desert, swamp, forest, that kind of thing. So we're going to have a desert here, so we'll craft this. And then we'll have a tier card, so you can see this is crafting. So we will make this. And this is one of the things with the autofill system, is because you have those tiered items, sometimes you do want to pick, sometimes it's fine, you can just autofill. Autofill is a very, very nice button. Right, we're going to craft this. And then I've got loads of the third types of cards, which are like effects. You can attach effects to worlds, and it's quite a cool system as well. And we'll get onto it in a minute. So we'll take these cards, we'll go to our personal teleporter, and we will travel to the world to explore it. So up here, you go into your system, and this is the next thing. If you travel to a world, the game should keep a log of where you've traveled. And yeah, we'll go to a level 30 actually. Because the game works on a level system, a tiered like leveling system due to gear level and item level, not your personal level. But we'll get onto that in a minute. The game needs to keep a repository of everything, where you've gone and what cars you used to get there. Because when you go to an area like we're about to now, you can come back to this area whenever you want. Whenever you want. If you have already been there, you can just click this and press this open portal turns into reopen portal, and it'll just reopen it and you can go again. And if you then go to a different area, you just use the same cards again, and just go. It'll reload a world you've already created. One of the really cool things about this is you can like add modifiers with the third version of cards to a world. So if you have a really good mining area, you have quite a few nodes at the very start or stuff like that because it is procedurally generated. Then what you're able to do is you're able to like add modifiers to get increased gathering and increased mining or increased ores or decreased durability on weapons, that kind of thing. And there's always a benefit and a bonus and a negative. A benefit and a negative to those modifier cards. Oh, here you go, here's the portal. I love that effect. It's really, really cool. Whee! So you can go and craft these worlds and then attach modifiers to them and give yourself like a repository of all these cool worlds. So I need tin. I'll go to this world I crafted earlier with these specific modifiers I've attached to it. So it's good at crafting, like good at gathering tin and that kind of thing. But because the game doesn't save a repository of all the worlds you've gone, I'd like a journal system or something, which I think would fit into the sort of aesthetic of the game as well. Because the game doesn't keep that repository, you don't know where you've been unless you've kept a log. You would need to actually keep a log of what cards you've used where, and so you can reuse them to go again. And it's really irritating. I feel like they missed a mark there. So we're going to a level 30 world. Absolutely fine. We're like level 67 here. You can see how each piece of gear, depending on how good it is, has a level to it. And then your level is the average of all those items. So this is a desert. A level 30 desert. It's not very far. I wouldn't say this is very far in the game. You can see we've got some trees here. You can see we're in the shade right now. So the level of statistics, this game focuses quite a lot on statistics and effects and defects and stuff like that. You can see I'm getting hot right now. And then I've also, down at the bottom left here, got relaxed. So I get increased stamina and health regeneration because I am chill. But as I get hot, you see I get your maximum stamina is reduced. And effects in this game, there's lots of effects in this game. So I go in the shade and my heat goes down, or I can put on my umbrella, my heat goes down again. So that's a good, it's a nice system. So there's one thing is I really wish you could put the umbrella away easily. Now you can put it away, but it's just not simple. Right, so I'm going to use my gun and I have my umbrella out because your hotbar is split up into like left hand, one's left hand or right hand, left hand or right hand. And if you press H, you can holster stuff. So you holster everything and then you have to repress 1. So if I have my umbrella out and my gun and I just want to holster the umbrella, I have to press H and then press 1. And it's irritating. So you could, if you only wanted one button, you could have press H to do your right hand, or left hand in this case, and then you could have hold to holster everything. Like, I think that would work. Also, the hotbars need to be the other way around. Yeah, good on you, Bay. Keep mining. Yeah. So the nodes around the world, you can see this is a node here, are based on item level, and if your, in this case, my pickaxe meets that item level, I am able to mine that node. So I have a 61. This is a 40. See that if you look at it now with without the pickup attached, and you can mine that ore. And then if you hold E, it picks up everything around you. It's really, really nice. So that's some sulfur and some copper. So we need sulfur to get some gunpowder. So this is a good idea. Go here, mine this up. We've got some sulfur. Down the bottom right, it gives you a log of what you've collected. I would like the game to tell me what this is, though. I'm colorblind, and it does suffer from some colorblind issues in this game. Some resources look similar in coloration, and this is an issue when looking at this. I only know what I've picked up until I've picked it up, and sometimes I don't want to pick it up. I'm like, no, this is a shit resource, or I actually am not interested in this resource and I've accidentally picked a bunch of it up. So that is irritating, to say the least. The other thing is, when it comes down to the game, it has a very, very good guidebook. You can use the search bar to search almost anything. So we can go in here, excuse my spelling. I'm going to find out how you actually spell sulfur. So it will do copper. because that's easy to spell. So here we go copper. And here it says in your glossary, there's one thing. So we can go here. We can go to rocks. We can go ores. And it says where it's found. Copper is found in deserts between power level 1 and 99. Fantastic. There's an issue, though, because there's always has to be an issue, doesn't there? Coal is really important for gunpowder. My character's basically a gun-wielding maniac. The glossary doesn't tell you where coal is. And I have spent a long time trying to find coal. I think it's based in caves. Oh, there's a beetle over there. I think it's based in caves, but as you can see here now, I'm in a cave and I'm finding lots of sulfur, but not a lot of coal. So that is irritating, that the fact they've got this really good glossary system in the game and it doesn't show off all the things. We can actually talk about some combat now then. Right, we'll do H and we'll do 1. Yeah, so combat. You shoot things. They, and it does damage. You can then sprint. Your weapons have a series of different things. So if I was using the pickaxe, because I don't actually have a melee weapon yet, I have to be using my axe and stuff. I haven't unlocked a melee weapon. I feel like I've missed a recipe. I don't know if I actually have, but I feel like I have. So, oh, Betty, you murdered the beetle. I was going to be my example beetle, but okay. So we're going to farm up this beetle then. So, combat is quite interesting. Each different type of weapon or item has a different different sort of ability set to it. The knife, you get a little jumpy dodge thing, which is really nice. The axe you can block with, and then you can attach spells to stuff. I haven't played around with magic a lot so far. It reminds me of Skyrim-ish, but the axe I have attached a heal to, so I can press R. It gives me this spell. I can then charge it up to tier 1, 2, or 3. I can trigger it, and it will heal me for a bunch of health over time. Really, really nice. I really dig it. It's nice. It's nice to be able to swap weapons dependent on your situation. You can be like, right, quickly give myself a heal, go back to my pistol. My pistol has a dodge to it, so I can dodge left and right while shooting some guy. Then my pistol also has another ability where I can press V and it unloads every single shot in the barrel in this case, because it doesn't really have a magazine. And then that does all 4 shots at once. So it's like a little bit of a shotgunny kind of thing. My rifle doesn't have the same extra ability like the pistol does, but you do get a little bit of a zoom with it, and this one you can hit people with it. So there's that. What's this over here? This is copper again, I think. Yeah, copper ore. Yeah, so then this is the kind of process. You go and you craft the world, and you go around, you explore it. There's quite a few things to do in each world, and you sort of figure out what guns you like to use and what items you use, and you go through and you craft your items. You find new recipes by exploring the worlds, and that's sort of like the process of the game. Apart from, I keep alluding to and / saying that I don't know if I've got all the items. I don't know if I've got all I don't know if I've got all the recipes that I should have. And that's because I'm not sure if I'm using the correct way of getting the recipes. So on the map, you have lots of different things. There's a like a unique monster there that aren't very unique. There are Fey towers over there, which are like large towers. They're all pretty much the same, to be honest. They're not very... The dungeons and boss fights in this game are not thrilling. They are absolutely pants, I have to say. Very, very basic. Oh, giant beetle. Giant... Oh, 20,000 damage. That's nuts. Grasshoppers are actually terrifying. Getting into a bit more combat here to show you guys sort of like the rotation of how I'm playing it. Yeah, so what I've been doing is I load into a world and of this tier, and I open up the map, and I find this is an NPC over here, and this is the trader. And I go to the trader, and I buy every single recipe he has, or she has. And that's it. And then I leave the area, I go to the next area, I beeline for the trader, and I find every single recipe they have. The other way of doing it is you go around and you find lots of little events and you do the event, and it could be anything from defending a specific place to from a horde attack. It could be you help someone build a house, an NPC build a house. It could be solve a very basic puzzle. Actually, I think there might be one over there. So we'll go have a look. And then you get access to, it might be a bit of lore, it might be some resources, or it could be a recipe. But that takes a very long time, and you would have to go and constantly reset worlds to get to all the recipes. So it's easy to just go to the trader and buy them all. Here we go. So this is a kill all the enemies. Oh, my gun is rifle is out of ammunition, so we're just gonna have to use my pistol here, which is nice because it's got this dodge, so I can stay out of range, and it feels pretty good to use. Again, these guys are dropping resources, so we can hold down E to pick up all these resources here. If I ever need to repair an item, repairing an item is not free, but it's very easy. It's made out of something called essence. Essence is picked up through lots of different ways from doing this here. So I got a new card. I unlocked a new type of card. Fantastic. I also got some 19 tier 1 essence. You can see down the bottom right. And then here is a buff. So favor was gained. You can see the bottom left. I've got a new buff. So what do we have? We've got favor of soaring. The Fae have shown you favor. Your legs tingle, and you feel as though you could leap through to the heavens before returning gently to the ground. So my jump is massive, and now I do not need an umbrella to glide. I do not believe. So I softly come down. It's kind of cool. It's just little like quirky fun things like this. These little automatons. So there. Yeah, so that's sort of the way of unlocking things. But like I said earlier, it's very slow. So just running to the trader is just a better way of doing it. But it doesn't feel rewarding. It doesn't feel rewarding or engaging to do that. In Valheim, to find the next item you need to craft, you craft an item associated with it. If that might be chopping down a specific type of tree, that might be like creating an ingot of copper. It might be creating bronze. It might be creating nails with that bronze. And those things, but oh, you've learned how to make nails out of bronze? Well, with those nails, you can make carts and you can make boats and that kind of thing. And that's rewarding because you're exploring the crafting system to then progress through the game. What's this? Is this coal? Is this coal? No, it's nickel. Don't worry about it, guys. It's nickel. Yeah, so, but this game doesn't feel like that. The progression of the world doesn't feel very rewarding in that scenario because you just run to a trader and get everything. The way I unlocked this gun and this gun was I found 2 different traders and I just bought the recipe, and that wasn't fun. It was very bland and boring. There we go. We'll start heading towards this Fae Tower to show you guys what that is. Yeah. So, and I do, because it's so simple, I do feel like I've missed something. again, and it goes back to this feeling of I don't know if I'm doing it right. And it kind of sucks because of that. You have this really cool idea of exploring different sort of realms and stuff. And then and crafting these realms for specific purposes that's let down by not being able to consistently know where you've gone in your explorations. And you're meant to be this kind of explorer, but the explorer doesn't keep a journal of where he's gone before. So the game like tries to encourage you to like craft the world and go back to places, but again, you don't have the means to remember to go back unless you're doing it out of game, which then takes you out of game. So, and I think that's just the running theme with this game, is it has some amazing ideas in the way of the world and the lore and the aesthetic, and it's let down by just issues like the flow of progression and some quality of life and performance. And I'm very excited, and I generally think this game... Oh, look, there's a boss mob over here. As you can tell, it's literally just a bigger beetle. And it's like, oh, this game's got like really cool boss mobs in it, or unique mobs in it. No, it doesn't. They're just big... It's just the same model, the same thing. Just slightly got more health and bigger, maybe slight color variations. And look, it's a lot. It's quite a big figure, and it's called something different. Here you go. This is the Fey Tower. Every single Fey Tower is exactly the same, and there's no boss at the end of it. It's just giant hordes of enemies. I actually have come in here with not a lot of health though. Not health, sorry, ammunition. It's just giant room full of very mediocre mobs. Yeah, like I said, I haven't got a melee weapon yet, so I might have missed the recipe, or there might not be one right now. I just don't know. Or essence, for repairing and everything else. But yeah, and that's the first room of the Fey Tower. We go into the second one here. We've got to dodge this trap. Again, I've been in Fey Towers where traps haven't done this. It might be bugged, and I didn't know there were traps, so they just stayed blue. So I didn't know what they were. There was no effect. Oh, there's another trap. I've also been in Fey Towers where they do this. It doesn't... Yeah, it feels a bit iffy doing this, I've got to admit. I feel like that should have gone off. Here we go. Oh, jump through here. What's over here? Not a lot. Yeah, so... Ow. This is a Fey Tower. This is actually different than all the other Fey Towers I've done. This is a bit more of a maze, where the others are just shoot the thing in the order. So I'm glad to see there's a bit of variation, but out of 37 hours, that is the first bit of variation I have seen. Ow. I've been poisoned. This triggered a trap, and I am now poisoned. So I got on my Q, which is a quick action, a quick sort of action. I've got health pots, which I craft. So I can't walk past that. I tried hugging the wall there. And when again, I literally was holding S against the wall. Oh, there we go. There we go. Did it. Fantastic. GG. Oh, that was the first time I've seen one of those. So it was a nice bit of variation. But again, just simple. Simple and a bit bland. Like, I didn't figure that out. I just walked and kept walking. Now, here's some enemy variations here. I have to say that almost every single boss encounter I have played in this game, every single enemy just feels like... These enemies bits just feel like giant hordes of mobs. You can very easily cheese it and hide in the corners, and The pathing is awful. If you're up here, sometimes there's a ledge here. And you can sit on there, and the enemies have no idea what to do with you. They run back and forth, depending where you stood on it. Their pathing goes absolutely crazy. Here we go, time infusion speed. Nice. Now, we came up here for the third part of manipulating realms. So, in here, we can play a minor card. And we can add a modifier to it. So, what have we got here? So, this one here. Play this card to increase your swimming speed, resistance to disease, and the ability to recover stamina while in water. There's also through this card is made... though this card is made of nature, but dry pages and absence... Yeah, so the card affects slight swim speed increase, slight stamina regen, while increase while wet, modest disease resistance increase. Sky is overcast, but temperature is perfect for swimming. And every card does something like this. Here we have refinement time is increased by 10 seconds. Refinement time is 3 seconds. Refinement time is increased by 15 seconds. So massive buffs there to like crafted tools have durability, crafted cloth items have durability. So a brilliant one for maybe a home base or a home settlement here. So let's try and find a good one for this specific area. We got a slight movement increase, stamina effect. I actually really like this one. Yes, it does drain your durability, but durability is not really a problem because you have so much essence thrown at you. You could just repair anyway, not a problem. And that jump I had earlier in the game where the buff I had to jump, this gives that world that buff permanently. So let's do this one just to show you what happens here. And we can back off and I'll hide my stuff. Because this effect is so cool. And I think this is one of the things, is the game's world does feel really cool. Like, this is so cool. I love this. I have walked into a trap. But you see that down the bottom left, the skybox changes, like the cloud covers, the world does change a little bit in the case of like weather effects and stuff like that. Sadly, if you make it rain a lot or overcast, you still get a lot of heat. Because I've attached one which makes it overcast / raining. I still get very, very hot. So that might be realistic, that might not be not, but I'm also in a Fey universe, so what the hell? I would like it to affect some of the buffs that appear. And then we can go down to the left here and we can see we've got a slightly movement increase, stamina efficiency, and we've got the jump velocity thing here, but our weapons are going to drain quicker. So if I, just to prove it to you, if we take off the umbrella that helps me float, we can jump off here and see our jump is really, really high, and we can jump off and just float down without doing anything at all. So I've modified this world and that does feel really cool and I really do like that. I wish they went more with it. I wish they went ham. I wish there was ways of adding 2 or 3 modifiers to a world. I wish there was a way of actually changing the world physically in some way, somehow. That would be really, really cool. I love that idea. So yeah. The other thing is, at the moment at least, I have seen small variations and stuff as I've gone through the tiers. Higher tiered places tend to... Betty, you're very hurt. Are you okay? Higher tiered places tend to have a little bit more built up areas, roads, some outposts, slightly more NPCs. All the deserts seem to be pretty much exactly the same. Here's another type of puzzle we can just show you here. So this one is... If you come over here, you'll see these markings. So we've got to find these markings. So we're going to look around the rocks. There's a marking there, but it's not red and glowy, so we're going to do this. And there's a marking there. Again, like, I see what they want to do with the exploration and like puzzle solving and stuff, but it just doesn't, like, it's so basic and there's no real change of variety to it. I don't think this is one of the rocks, but it might be. So we've still got this one here. So you see as I'm discovering them, they're showing up on the pillars here. So I think it's 3 in total. My big jump coming in handy to check up here. Oh, there we go. That's the 3rd one. And it unlocks this. And what do we get? We get essence and a simple hide scone. Don't know. So we've unlocked another recipe to craft some stuff. And there we go. And that's pretty much Nightingale. I haven't gone into every system or every issue the game has. If I did, I would be here for hours. And I'm trying to get better at narrowing down my feelings a little bit more. Saying that, this video is still an hour long. But I think I've talked about some of the good things it does with how the game feels and how cool the worlds can be, and how like the combat is quite interesting with like different weapons having different abilities. But then I don't have a melee weapon yet, so it feels a bit odd. And as well as like the ability to dodge and stuff is good, and I can attach spells to my my weapons. The fact that every encounter is just a massive zerg of enemies is just a bit shit. And I think the game really needs to have a look at the way it progresses a player and teaches the player the systems and says, right, are we doing this in an effective manner? Is starting them off with makeshift, simple tools when we might want them to craft pickaxes with mining speed with the items they're gathering and backpacks with carry capacity? Really how we want to be teaching a player, and I don't think the answer is yes. I do think the answer is actually no. We want to let's strip it right back and go with let's do statistics straight away. Maybe give the player redo the way the recipes are made, and then or given to the player, and then focus on the statistics part of it, or maybe meld them in together and add the statistics side of things, or make the statistics side of things more obvious from the get-go when you're making makeshift weapons, and then have maybe a hybrid of that, the two. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this game could be one of the best survival games on the market. I feel like the level of exploration it has attached to it is phenomenal, but I also feel like it's let down by things that survival games figured out with Minecraft. I haven't talked about questing or anything like that. I don't think anything the game does is outstanding in that department. And I feel like I just wanted to talk about some of the issues. I feel like the game needs... Oh my god, it's a giant fucking scorpion. I feel like the game needed a... I wanted to talk about a few of the things I feel like the game needed a focus on. And then when I come back to review this game again, when it's in 1.0, I'm really hoping they can turn around and say, look at the things we've fixed and look at what an amazing game we've made due to player feedback. That's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate all the views and all the attention and the subscribers. If you have liked this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you again with the next review. We're probably looking at Enshrouded, and then after that we'll go on to, I don't know, maybe Pacific Drive. I'm looking forward to it. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you later. Oh, fuck me, you're a creepy bitch. You're a dead creepy bitch.